Hello everyone, I am Bhavesh Patil working at Tech Revive Technologies as a MuleSoft developer. I welcome you all in today's advanced RAML hands-on session where we all will dive into a practical world of RAML. Today we will be focusing on some advanced topic or you can just say a little bit complex topics than what we have discussed and covered in our previous basic RAML session. If you haven't watched our previous two videos of RAML, then I strongly suggest you that to go through it because I will be assuming that you know the topics which I have already covered and will be discussing in that way only. Also, I hope you have practiced somewhat of basic RAML by yourself. So now let's go to our Anypoint platform. I have already discussed how to create a Anypoint platform account and all the stuff about it. So, if you aren't aware about that, then please watch our previous two videos. Without wasting more time, let's dive into it. So, in this video, I won't be typing all the code with you. As I value your time, I have already kept some block of code ready with me. So, it will be easier and video will be short and to the point for our hands-on session. As you have came to know that the first topic we are covering today is nested resources. So in RAML, nested resources are used to represent a hierarchical relationship between a resource or endpoints. They allow you to define resources within other resources to model a complex API structure where one resource is conceptually a part of another resource. So the first, like a second resource, is dependent on the first resource. So before explaining to the code, let's have some practical view that we will be came to know what are the nested resource. So nested resource is nothing new. We have discussed already earlier that there are the sub resources like news. In news there is a you can say there is a entertainment and arts. So news is a main resource and this is all the part will be a sub resource, and sub resource is nothing but a nested resource itself. So if I just want to call entertainment and arts resource, it won't take it because it is a conceptually part of news. You should go in the news resource and then after you can access to the entertainment and arts parts of news resource. So there should be a news resource, right? I hope this makes you this will make your concept clear. Or there is also one example in sports. There is a, you can say the football. So football is a, another nested. In football there is a tables. So they are automatically or like conceptually dependent on the parent resource. So it is a hierarchical model through which you can make your URL and API easier and like meaningful. So let's go to the code. Like suppose you want to design a API for a library or a bookstore. So there will be a book section. In that book section, you have written some methods, and you might have the like top level resource for managing the books. And within that resource, there may be a nested resource to represent a book categories. So like you can look that categories. So categories like in the right side too, you can see that book is a top level resource in which there is a nested resource called categories. So also they like one thing we will be noticing description. What is description? So description is a field in the RAML. So description is like your friend, or you can say it's like a caption in a photo or album or like any YouTube video or anything. So helping you and others to understand what each component does. So you don't know why I have written a get method here. Maybe you know because we are discussing now, but after some time in future, you will be coming, you will come back to this code and want to discover why I have created a books method, like books resource and get method for it. So what get method is doing here? So there must be a description written over here. So it will be helpful for you, also for other developers who will be using your or working your on your code. So description is a one thing, one helpful thing. So there is a response. This all thing I have discussed, so I won't be wasting my time and yours too. in discussing the same topic again. So there is a books and there is a categories, and there are two get methods. So one can also wonder there is a get method for two times. But remember, my friend, first get method is for books resource, and second get method is for books slash categories method. Categories resource. So why we want a nested resources? As we know that there is a categories, and what categories will do, like categories get method will execute or give respond that list of books categories. What are the categories of books in our bookstore is there. So if I just write categories, I can just simply, just a second, like, yeah. So there is a books endpoint and there is a category endpoint. So in category there will be a list of all the categories of books. But doesn't it makes more sense that in the books there is a category resource which tells you what are the categories of books is stored in your like bookstore or library, right? Are you getting me, like what I am trying to convince you? So so that's why there is a categories written inside the books. Also there may be various points, like after books I want to add some resource name as videos or a name as any kind of cars. So in cars there can be a category method category resource too. So I don't want to rename like category 1 category 2. The category will be the category, but in someone is going to the books resource and then he is accessing the categories, so that he will be getting the list of books categories only. If he is going to the videos resource and in videos resource he is calling the categories resource, so he will be getting the list of video categories only. So that's the purpose of our nested resource. I hope you are getting my point. Then next point comes, I want to access a particular book. In my bookstore I have a book id. In book id, I have ids given for each book. So I want to access a book number like having id 104. So how can I do that? So there can be a, we can write a one another nested resource called as book id. You can also see in the right side there is a resource created books slash book id. So this will be returning the details of my like which will be id we will be providing, so details of that id only. And what books will be returning, number of books and the general information about all the books. And for having a detailed information we will be having a book id resource. But here comes a turn, I want to access a book having id 104. So it's there, so I have created a book id for like a resource for 104. But I want to access having book id having 105 or 200. So how can I provide, like how can I tell my API that I want to 200 book id resource? So there is a URI param. Now one might wonder what is URI param. So I have already discussed it. So please go and watch our first and second video. So URI parameters are like just a placeholder in your URL. So enabling our, we can dynamically insert a data into our API calls. They allow users to provide a specific input for more tailored response. So more specific response will be written for if I provide book ID as 104, so only 104 details will be provided to me and none other than. So URI parameter will write URI params in the curly braces. So book ID is a URI param itself. So let's execute it, get. So there is a book ID as a URI parameter. I need to give it in order to access details of my that particular book ID. So I have given 104. Then let's send it. So yeah, we return like 200. Okay, for get method there is a message details of given ID 104. In URL you can see that there is a books slash 104. If I provide like book ID as 251, so let's send it. So I have written a like static example 104. So message is 104 only. But if you see at URL part in the request URL, there will be a books slash 251. So we are accessing books resource, but in books resource, we particularly want a 251 ID book to be given to us. So that's the reason we use URI params. Now, one like just create a for categories, we also want a particular category to be executed to be displayed. So let's create a category ID. So there will be a like in summary we can go. So there is a books and categories. In books there is a categories, but in books there is a categories and we want a for a particular category ID. So in for particular category ID, this code of block will be executed. You can see the like how our API is looking. What is the like there is a book section. In books there is a books ID. So you can explore books by providing a books ID dynamically. If you want to see categories of books in books, you can enter in the resource categories. Similarly, in categories, if you want to access some particular category ID, like having a sad genre or anything like that, so you can provide a category ID too. So that's the purpose of our URI params. So now let's clarify the difference between the nested resource and URI params, because many of you might be confusing or using the terms interchangeably. So nested resource provide a hierarchical structure like this, but they are for organization and related functionalities to be clear for end users. But URI param offers a dynamic input. Like here we have seen book ID is not specific. In for 104 also it is executing, for 251 it's also executing. So URI param offers the dynamic input options in the URL, allowing users to specify a particular data. So they will be getting a particular book only. They won't get all the data of all the books, which will be misleading or they won't need it. That's why there is a URI param. Also in URI param, there can be another nested resource, like I am accessing a books for our bookstore. There will be a number of books and general information about books. After that, I have provided some ID like 104. In 104, they will be like providing me the details of only 104 book ID. But after that, there can be a one resource called author. Just I can write author. So in author, there will be a like retrieve the information of author for a specific book. So there will be information of author, but only for a particular book ID. What if I write author in like it is not nested in book ID? So there will be another resource called books and author. In author, there will be a list of all the authors, but I don't need list of all the authors. I want that one can go in books. In books ID, he or she can provide a book ID. After that, he can call the author, so that author will be written for a particular book ID. It's not like wrong or right. Like I have written like something like this. So it's not wrong to write books in author. Like so, it's all up to you how you want your API to be displayed and to be functional. So that's the purpose for it. Also we can see the just go to the bbc.com. Let me show you the difference between nested and URI params. So in news there is a section or a resource called word. So news is a resource. In that, word is a nested resource. In news, I want news from all over the world. So there is a news slash words. If I just enter word, it won't be taking it, or 404 will be thrown away. Sorry, extremely sorry. So, so yeah. So it will be showing us 404 not found, because there can be a word without news. So in news, there is a word. Now we want new. There are news from all over the world, but we want a specific news, like news from the continent Africa. So let's talk Africa. So news from Africa will be shown here. So I now want news from the continent Europe. Europe. Extremely sorry. Europe. So there it is. Similarly, we can do for Middle East, Canada, and everything like that. So if you have observed these and if you have cleared your concept, what are the nested resource and what are the URI params, you will be getting that news and world is a fixed name of resource. They are not changing. But here we are continuously changing the name of continent. Like for this time, I will be inserting Africa. Later on, I will be changing it to the Europe. Resource is like this is the URI param. URI param name as continent. So there can be like this continent, right? So in which we are providing the name of continent. So dynamically it is taking the values and finding it in their resources. Like if I entered Africa, so they will not show. Why? Because A is capital. They have written code for A, like a small a, not a capital A. So Africa will be shown here. So this is the URI param and these are the nested resources. So in this way we can like design our APIs. So I hope you have get the difference and need of URI params and the nested resource. Now came back to the code. So, as we have discussed in our previous hands-on session, we have discussed about a website raml.org in which you can get it like learn now, learn home. So, in that there is a RAML 100 tutorial. In that, all the tutorial is provided like what is the root resources, the methods, URI params, which already we have discussed, query params and all these things. I suggest you to go through it so it will make you more sense and like your understanding will be much better than now. So let's go to the RAML 200 for now. There is a use cases, all these things is like please go through it. You will get all these things. For now, I just want to discuss what are resource types and it's not like types the types of resources like sub or main. The resource types is like a reusability and predefined set of properties and behaviors that can multiple resources can adapt through our API specification. Like they allow you to define common resources structure and behavior once you have used them throughout your API, promoting the consistency and reducing the redundancy of our design. Like there is a in our code we can see that I have defined resource types in which I have given a name standard resource. What is the standard resource? Like there is a fixed structure. Every resource will have get method, post method, put, patch, delete method for sure. Like I am considering it for sure. There will be four methods through like five methods throughout my API specification. So I have created a resource type called as standard resource. I have used it through by using the type name like type keyword. In type keyword there is a standard resource. So what happens with the resource types? Now all the methods are here for books. You can see that I haven't created any post, put and delete method for the books, but though there is no method created, there is a method post, put, patch and delete, right? We don't have to define it here because it is already defined in the resource types because it was a resource type. But now I don't want a common responses from this method. For books, there will be another like response will be another for the get method. If there is a resource called categories, so categories get method will respond accordingly. So what can we do? Like we can just provide a structure or you can say the definition for this. Now this like I have defined the get method here in standard resources. What the standard resources get method response? Resource type get. But if I execute this, I will find that this message is written like number of books and common methods, right? Number of books. Why is it so? And also there is a one another question. There is a two methods here now. There is a get method from standard resources and get method from books. So why it is not clashing it and causing the error? Because if you have learned the oops concept in the Java, it's similar to that. So it's a parent, you can say the parent of this resource. He like books carries the all the properties from resource types, but books has ability that he can define its own way to do a get method. So he has defined method like they want books want get method to be executed like this only. So resource type get will not be get executed. But for now there is no method called post for books. But post method is included in our resource types standard resources. So this post will be called because books don't have the post method. So let's try it. In summary, there is a for books there is a post. Let's try it. Send. So now you can see resource type post. But what if I again create a post method in my books? So it will be get overlap. The this post method which will be I am writing here will be get executed and not this method. Are you getting me? If you if I think you will be known about like oops concept. So it's very similar to that, right? Like in oops, if you have learned or you can just search for it, like inheritance. So resource type standard resources is like being like a parent of books resource, or the method overloading, method overriding. So this all concepts is very similar to this. So now also we can create a many resource types. Like I have created one another like basic resource. So basic resource is like just in which I am providing delete method. So let I want a basic resource for here. So they will suggest me which resource do you want, basic resource. So for now, let's see in summary. So yeah, we have get method from the books and delete method from our resource types like parent known as basic resource. So delete method. So what is the structure of delete method? Response basic get like sorry, not get method, it's a delete method. So try it and just send it. So yes, basic delete method. So this can be applicable for all the resources. So I can also write in the book ID like types. Where is types? Type, sorry, not types. Type basic resource. So obviously my book ID will get. Also, I can include the another type known as like another resource type, which was it standard resource, right? So obviously automatically all the methods come over here. So doesn't it seems like magical? So you are not like provide you have already provided some blueprint. Like most of the methods will be similar to this only. If whenever you want to like develop or change somewhere, modify somewhere, you can just write get method and provide your like how can behavior to that method at that time only, right? So that's for now. Now there is another concept called traits. So come over here, traits. Where is it? Traits. Mm, yeah, there is a trait method like traits. So what are the traits? I assume that you don't know traits. So let me explain what are the traits. Traits are more similar to the resource types only. Like traits are used or known for reusable and composable units of behavior that can be applied to various parts of our API specification. Similar to the resource types, like right, we have fixed the content, like provided some structure. That structure will be applicable for whenever we will be including that traits at that point only. But what are the differences between the resource types and traits? Does they are like same? If they are same, why we are using it? So this is the, you can say, the point which will be which is needed to clear. So resource types are mainly used to define a common structure and behavior of entire resource. Like here I have like written a standard resource. So this behavior is a common, and this all behavior is applicable for books only. Books, they are applied to at the resource level, but traits are used to define a reusable behavior, or you can say the reusability of characteristics that can be applied to a specific method. I want to apply some characteristic for this get method, so I don't want to write it again and again, so I will just use traits and include it here. So it can be traits can be applicable to methods, responses, and other parts of API. They provide a more granular behavior control for like compared to the resource types. Now let's see the practical code for the traits. So now let's see how to implement traits. So I have written a traits. Like you can just click over here and you will get the option here for the traits. But I have already created a traits, so there is no option. Let me just show to you. So yeah, there will be a traits option. Just click over it. You will be getting the suggestion automatically. But it's not the thing I want to discuss now. So I have created already traits. In traits, I want a behavior like authentication required. If you have seen the any API, like in first video, we have seen the API like news API. In that news API, we have to provide a API key for authorization purpose, like any token or API key for authentication purpose. So we will be passing it in a headers. So in headers, there is authentication or like authorization. In description, there is given like API key and token should be provided. If it is not provided, then what we should give as a response. In response, there is a 401 that is unauthorized. 40 stand for unauthorized. Authentication required or authentication failed. Right. So this kind of characteristic is not for all the like all APIs doesn't require authentication. So this behavior is a specific for any method. Like suppose that in news API, I am free to like execute the get method. Like I won't be restricted from the get method. I can get like call the get method. But in news API, if I want to post on put and I want to delete something, then there must be a authentication provided. So like just make let me just copy this put method, post method, copy. Obviously like post method has some body and all these things. This is not a correct way of post implementation. It's just for like understanding. We are in the learning phase, so I am just writing it and keeping it more simpler to understand you. So don't take code and sense as it is. It's just for understanding purpose. So yes, now where it is in get yeah. So yeah, there is a post method. You can see books post, right? Let me change here. Not a resource type. This is a in book resource, right? So send it. So there is a in book resource, there is a post method. But now I want a post method to be authenticated. I want to provide authentication, so there is a called is. In is there is authentication required, right? So what is the error? Okay, indentation. So yeah, is it okay? Right, okay. So now you can see that there is a authentication required for the post method. Earlier we are allowed to do it, but for now, like if you want to like just click here post, and there is a authentic authorization column for it is a like string type and it is required. So API key token is needed for executing this kind of query, like sorry method. So also I can give this, like I have removed it, so this is also removed from here, right? If I want to give it to the get query, I can also give it to like is, and there is a authentication required. Similarly, right, in get method there is a right authentication authorization string required. So this, like you can also create many attributes. Like I have created resource types, two resource types, three, four. So similarly, you can create many traits like having different behaviors. Like I want to do something like something common structure or characteristic which will be I implementing in many times, so I can also include it here. So that's it for traits and resource. I hope you know the what are the resources types and traits, why we use it, what is the difference between them. So that is also, as we have discussed in earlier sessions, it is preferred that to create a file system, and then we can include all the structure or the implementation here. Like without writing all the code here, I can just put it in a file, like create a new folder. After that, in new file, I can put all this code, and at, at this level, I can just make it like, include. And then the path of that file. Obviously, I am not creating here. You can try it by yourself, give it a try. I have already discussed. So if you don't like, if you find any difficulty in creating a files and including it here, you can just go to the previous video, you will find it there. So it will be preferred to create a file. Also, I will suggest you to like design your own API. Don't like, you want to practice, you can use this code, but try to develop your any application, or you can say the idea, and write the RAML code for that. So you will get a better understanding, and you will know how to design our like API, how our API should be called, how it should be looked, and all these things. Also, there you can in responses, you need to add more HTTP status like 400 401, because whenever get query is called, get method is called, so it's not there like 200 will be like all will be okay only. There can be a many scenario where some instances like errors will occur. So for that you need to write a 400 series and 500 series code, like HTTP status code, and provide the execution like examples and body, right? After you are done with all the coding part and you want to save your code, like give it for like another can view, so you can also share from here, and don't like, you can publish it from here, like click publish. Yeah, so there is asset version, keep it as one, or you can also change it from here, version 1 for now. Then again we will be making some changes and publishing it, so there will be version 2, and keep it will keep on increasing, version 1, version 2, and access to version 2 like 1.01, 1.02, similar to that, right? And we can also like state the what is the life cycle state. It's a stable version, or it is in a development, like in process of design and development. So yeah, publish to exchange, saving new version. So yeah, publish to exchange, see the asset, exchange, click on exchange. So yeah, there is advanced RAML 3, there is a documentation in summary, there there is what we have already created. Then there is a books, like all the thing is provided. Get, so there is a thing, post, delete, right? So that's it for today. You can also download it from here, add versions, another version share from here. You can explore it by yourself. Thank you. That's it for today's session. I hope you have understood all the topics we have covered today. I will strongly recommend you that please design your own API, design your own RAML code. So and practice it again and again. You will make mistakes, but if you try, you fail, and if you fail, you will going to be success. So please give it a try. Don't worry about like failing and making mistakes. Make mistakes, and like if there is any mistake you are not able to tackle, you can Google search it. There is a chat GPT. There are many much resources for you. So just give it a try, and many congratulations to all of them. You have completed the RAML tutorial. So, congratulations to you. Happy coding for your future. That's it from my side. See you at next time.